I think the title, The Painted Veil, refers to, I think that's Somerset Maugham's way of saying that everybody has illusions about life, and that's the veil that's in front of our eyes. And I think he sort of suggests that when we fall in love with people, in a lot of ways, we fall in love with what we want them to be and not what they actually are. And the story, in many ways, is about two people who confront when the veil drops, and they have to confront each other. They go through a lot of resentment, a lot of disconnection, a lot of even, punishment and recrimination.
Do you absolutely despise me?
No, I despise myself.
Why?
For allowing myself to love you once.
It's about these two people recovering, in a way, their relationship from that, forgiving each other and seeing each other more clearly with all their flaws and accepting that. And it's and I think that's very challenging, because I think that's what makes, even though it's a period story, it makes it, pertinent in some ways to anybody watching it who's been in a relationship, because in a way it challenges you to say, have I been forgiving? It makes you confront how difficult forgiveness is and how important it is.
It's a romance for guys. And I think what they mean is that in this film, it's the guy played by Edward Norton, the guy from the Fight Club, the guy from American History X, is the one whose heart is shattered, really, really suffers a heartbreak. And I think we don't give guys that in literature and in movies. It's always the woman whose heart is broken, who's waiting, for the man to return. Someday my prince will come. And in this movie, the guy gets to have the heartbreak, and I think a lot of guys get their hearts broken by women all the time. So in this movie, we get to sort of explore that.
We had worked on the script and expanded, I think, the view of China to include, like, the humanitarian crisis of this cholera epidemic and things like that. But John brought an insight into it that, to be totally honest, Ron and I had sort of skipped, which was that he said we can't just have it be in China in the 20s. It has to be in a moment. And John was the one who really went in and said, let's set this in and around the events of 1925, when these students and protesters were shot by British troops.
British troops opened fire on a group of Chinese workers who were demonstrating in Shanghai. 11 were killed. Those were plastered around the town last night.
Men like this have held a real power in China since I was young. But that time is coming to an end.
And it created this enormous, this thing they call the May Martyrs Revolution now, where all over the country there were these riots protesting foreign intervention in China, and some foreigners got attacked. And, John, like a good director does, he kind of said this is a great context of fear and, a tumultuous moment. It would be a great setting for the film, and it also has things to say about, I think, Westerners messing around in other people's countries and telling them how to fix their country. And so John did a lot to bring that into it, and it was great. It was great. It anchored it really specifically.
Making a film in China, about China, you do have to go through a certain approval process with the government in order to get permits to shoot, and that's a different kind of problem, because that starts affecting your script and the film that you want to make, etc. So there's a few problems. We were shooting scenes with bodies, corpses being dragged out of their homes, and it's a custom to clear the air of bad spirits by making noise, setting off firecrackers, and we were doing that between takes sometimes, because we were using a lot of these people as extras, and we were using a lot of their homes as locations, and so you're working with them in whatever way you have to. I think one of the problems was that the dialects in these areas are we had Cantonese and Mandarin interpreters, but even they didn't understand some of the dialects of these villages and villagers, and so that was difficult.
What is the underlying metaphor of The Painted Veil?
Well, The Painted Veil, to me, people keep asking me, what's that title? And I think it's pretty clear, once you just think about it for a moment. Kitty sort of sees things in her lover, Charlie, that aren't really there. She sees things in herself that aren't really there. Walter sees things in her that aren't really there. And all these people see things in China that aren't really there. And I think what happens in the course of the movie is that the characters get to have their delusions stripped away. And we as an audience get to have those things that we're projecting onto the characters stripped away.